with respect and reverence, that the unknown between us might flower into discovery and lead us beyond the familiar field, blind with the weed of weariness and the old walls of habit.
Journey Conversations creates an occasion to explore the big questions. What is sacred in my life? What's my purpose? How can I make a difference? We gather together, turn off the electronic devices, slow down, and learn how to listen deeply, within and to one another. We embark on a journey of mutual discovery where we share our stories and encourage one another to notice and name what is holy in our lives, in the midst of our daily struggles, the contradictions, and the ambiguity. We also learn how to discern by asking questions that invite one another to reflect deeply on where we find purpose and meaning. Our hope is that through these conversations, more of us will grow spiritually and increase our understanding of one another. That more of us will grow to see others, especially those of differing faiths and cultures, as persons with stories to share rather than stereotypes.
Journey Conversations is an opportunity for all of us to bring a bit of peace and justice to our world. It's a way of talking with each other, a way of listening to each other, and a way of engaging in contemplative practice and seeking wisdom that helps us get beyond polarization, get beyond divisiveness, get beyond scapegoating, and get beyond the misunderstandings that drive wedges between us.
We value each person's religious faith and the religious practice they engage in. We welcome all perspectives, and what we learn from each other is how each of us lives our own faith journey.
But what it ended up being was a lot more special in that it kind of, instead of it being about bringing together people of different traditions or different faiths, or people who had faith and people who didn't have faith, it was about creating an environment for people to express their own spiritual journey, regardless of whether or not it fit into the boundaries of anything. And I think experiencing people sharing their experiences in that way kind of reinvigorated my own hope in sort of interfaith work.
We draw on the spiritual practices of the great religious traditions of silence and centering and deep listening, storytelling and compassion. And we practice them together with space for everyone to understand them in their own way and yet build relationships with others as we're doing this.
So one of the things I have learned from Journey Conversations is that one can practice silent meditation, one can practice silent breathing and centering in a group setting, and there is a power to it. And we use that as our beginning moments together in Journey Conversations.
One of the very first things we did was sat in a circle, and they just said, all right, now we're gonna sit here silently for 5 minutes. And I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, this isn't how you learn about other people. You talk to them, and like, it was just such a weird experience the very first time I did it. But then after a while, like I said, you just begin to crave that silence, and it's such a de-stressor, and it makes the this just community of people, and it's just, after a while, it becomes something that you really just need in your life, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Not only trying to connect people with other people, we're also connecting with ourselves, which I think it's a very important step in everybody's life.
I think that working with such a small group in Journey Conversations, it helped to be more comfortable with sharing your story, especially if that's something new to you. And I think that it was a very comfortable and relaxing environment, and since it was a smaller group, it was easier to get to know everybody else more personally.
Aspect of sharing personal stories was also profound. In the fall, I had a chance to just be a participant in Journey Conversations, and within that semester I shared a story about how I felt like I was wearing a mask oftentimes, and people were responding compassionately to that by asking questions like, who do you think you're wearing the mask for? Or who's someone that you look to who you feel doesn't wear a mask very often? And questions like these really helped me to think about where I'm standing, rather than thinking about how to solve the problem right away.
As we listen to the experience of our participants, we hear how much they value having a scheduled time and place to reflect, how they benefit from learning skills to listen within and to listen compassionately to others. They've discovered a new way of being present to one another by asking questions rather than offering advice or giving suggestions. And they've also learned how to live more intentionally and with greater attention.
I've seen the practice of compassionate questions really taking root on campus, that students are finding ways, and students and other participants, to listen deeply and ask questions that invite the speaker to reflect.
Through the process of listening to other people's stories and compassionate questioning, I've come to understand a lot more of what they find to be important in their lives, and I've been able to kind of take that and have that help reevaluate what I find to be important in my life.
I feel all the conflicts, whether they are interpersonal or international level conflicts, they can only be resolved from your personal understanding of peace building, and Journey Conversations is a step in that direction.
The way to build peace is to engage our neighbors. And this is a process, a way to engage our neighbors by encouraging them to share their stories. When they are sharing their stories, we can listen and ask really compassionate, smart questions about what that journey says about compassion, what it says about joy, what it says about peace. And through that process, we can begin to reimagine who we are together.
Through these conversations, we learn the skills and attitudes for becoming more of a welcoming presence to one another. And I'm especially interested in extending these conversations so that persons who are seeking, who may not claim a religious affiliation, but who desire to live their life with greater meaning and purpose, can explore their important questions in these conversations.